Hello, everybody. Welcome to my new weekly review. Today I will go over NZDCAD, which was a break even for me last week. I will go over the daily, weekly, and 4 hour. The charts are open. And what could we see on the daily? We had a clear bullish M, first leg, second leg, third leg, A, B, C correction or a waveform. So this is a bullish M with an IC. This is the IC. Between all the red candles, you have one blue candle, which is working like a magnet where the price can reject on, where the institutions have enough liquidity to go to the downside, which we did there. Then what could we trade? Because you had first here the first trade, which I didn't took because I was targeting the shoulder one region here, but we could take the bullish M on the 4 hour and then we could take the scale in. So if I go over the weekly now, on the weekly, we have a clear 3 out of 4. The trend is for us. Low, high, low, high. We have a clear bullish M sitting here. And this is the trend for us. Candle close. This red candle was against us. So this is against us. And then the fib from this low potentially till this high can work for you, or this low till this high can also work for you. Potentially, you have two fibs that are working for you. Then the supply and demand zone, this one, this is a clear smaller bullish M, first leg, second leg, correction, third leg, impulsive, fourth leg, here coming back till this weekly higher low here, where we can have some liquidity acting as resistance here, resistance, resistance weak to the downside, resistance to the downside, and further we had also some clear buyers also. So that's the supply and demand zone that got triggered after we hit it here, this zone. So 3 out of 4 for that long. And then on the 4 hour, what could we see? We didn't took this entry. I was targeting the shoulder one region here where I took my limit and we didn't trigger here. So that was a mistake of me. I needed to took my limit on this bullish M first structure. And then we could go to the upside and have 2.5%. So I didn't do that. Then I was seeking for that scale in trade because we had still some room till that daily IC where my horizontal black line was on it. So we had here our first leg here, clear break of structure, second leg, third leg, fourth leg going back to the first point of structure here. And we went to the upside till the 4 hour minus 27 aligning there with my daily IC. So we went break even after touching the 4 hour minus 27. We weren't running yet 2.5%. So that's why this trade, yeah, was coming back. I didn't took partials because I wasn't running 2.5% where I closed 2.5% out. So that's the reason. And we went back and we could potentially take a loss if we didn't when break even, but we did it. Then the missed trades were actually a lot of GPY trades. As you can see, 4 of them, which is a lot. And we know GPY trades, yeah, are really good to trade to the upside. So if I go over this one, get GPY, this was a potential hedge position with the 4 hour inverse and shoulders without break of structure. So I will open this trade daily, then weekly, and 4 hour. If I go over the daily, what could we see here? We had a fib completion from this high till this low, minus 68. The fib completion was aligning here with a nice bullish candle close, impulsive candle close to the downside with after that here, that nice retrace candle where we already were in that trade. You could see we had a nice daily supply and demand zone acting as resistance, support here, nice support, buyers, which could potentially hold here also to the upside, which is one of the requirements of this trade that we have a clean daily supply and demand zone where there can be buy orders sitting. So, and then on the weekly, What did we had there? A very clean supply and demand, so acting as clear resistance here, support, support, resistance, support, support. And we had that potential false break of this bullish M here, with this potential false break fake out. And we could also potentially make that shoulder one, head, shoulder two, because the hardest thing to do in a market is to switch from momentum. So we can expect a pullback after this liquidity zone was hit, and we grab that liquidity to the upside, potentially going now to the shoulder one, where we can have now some sellers, which we did also here. So this was the weekly 3 out of 4. The trend was still for you. This was your high, low, high, low, new high. So this was your clear, bigger bullish M. And also, if you look to the smaller picture, this was also bullish M, but we didn't broke it yet fully. So this was clearly still bullish. This candle close, this red one was against you last week, so this one was against us. Then the fib from this low or potentially this low till this high is still working for you, so we can target this weekly TP still. And then supply demand, so this one was really clear. This is working for you, so we have a 3 out of 4 for that long. And on the 4 hour, what could we see here? A shoulder one had shoulder two with a small break. We had a small close above this lower high. So this is an inverse and a shoulders without a break. We could take our limit stop loss below the low of the head, and then we could take this trade. And I was analyzing this trade, and what was the thing that was um, scaring me off was this daily previous structure black line. We had resistance on it, and this was a mistake of me. So if I go to the daily, you can see this was your daily structure low here, and I took your horizontal black line, and we tapped it and we acted as support to go to the downside, and then we went back with a 4 hour inverse and then shoulders here, but without a break. So this was scaring me off, but this is actually not a first time break. Here we had a first time break previous structure. This one was a valid one. If we had here that resistance, then we could not stay the trade because we didn't close above it on the 4 hour, or we closed below it on the daily. And now this is not anymore valid to see this as a daily previous structure. So this was a mistake of me that I was confused about, and I didn't took it, but I analyzed it. So yeah, this was actually a trading mistake that I didn't see correctly. Then the second one, CHFGPY, this could be a pullback trade, a first time break trade. I know a lot of traders will not trade this kind of setups, but I backtested it and it works. So what do I mean with the first time break pullback trade? Is the pullback you're counting on to go make head and shoulders or tapping that first previous structure. So here you had a clear low, and this was your high. This is all the same high for me, this one. So we broke this previous higher low. We broke it here, and we had here a shoulder one here, head, shoulder two, where we could take some liquidity. And on the daily, if I looked back, this was also clear supply and demand. So for me, this was a clear reason to take this trade to the upside, because we expected after an impulse a pullback, which we received till this potentially daily supply and demand zone. This is a pullback trade, first time break trade. And on the weekly, we don't need to have all these criteria. I just have here 1 out of 4. It's just a trend. This is your low, this is your high. You have here your clear. Yeah, for me, this could be a potential inverse and shoulders, but this was actually a false break of this higher low here. So for me, the trend was still bullish. And this could be also here liquidity zone acting here as resistance, support, resistance, support. So this was a nice zone on the daily actually. And on the 4 hour, This could be your deceleration, first candle, second candle, third candle, blue candle, and you could take your limit on that fourth candle. So we could go to the upside, which we did, then 15 pips below the lowest wick, which we were here, our stop loss, so it was safe. And why I didn't took it was because I am in losing week, around 2, 3 weeks in a losing weeks in a row, and I didn't want to take many patterns. I have many patterns that can play out, even pullback trades, first time break trades, big patterns, small patterns, pattern in pattern on a daily, all these patterns, reversal patterns. So I trade them all. But I didn't want to expose myself too much after this losing week. So that's the reason I had this conversation that I don't take this trade. But actually, I could take it, but there were more quality setups than this one to take, like these other GPY pairs. So this could be also 2.5%. So these two get GPY, CHGPY could already give me 5%. Then the last one, or not the last one, GPY on the daily. I will close the other screenshots here and I will go over daily, weekly, and 4 hour. So on the daily, on GBP/GPY, which trade we could trade here is a big bullish M fake out. So we had a small break of this previous higher low here. We broke it, but we didn't broke the low wick here. We grabbed, I guess, yeah, we grabbed that liquidity a little bit lower. So this was a new action. And this was also an ABC correction with a fib completion. If you took your fib from this high till this low, you had a fib completion. So these were all signs that this could be a really nice trade with that weekly nice supply and demand zone where liquidity got taken. So this is a nice zone. And why again was this trade uh, getting me a conversation is for now this daily previous structure is valid to draw. And if I go in a moment to the 4 hour, I will explain it. On the 4 hour, you can see we had here first leg after taking that liquidity here, first leg, second leg, third leg, and we just closed above this daily previous structure on the 4 hour. We had a small close, and I had a big conversation about this that this is valid because it's really small. And yeah, the trade played out. I was analyzing this, but that conversation about the daily previous structure, that it's dangerous to take this kind of setups, yeah, was giving me the conversation. Yeah, I don't trade it, but the daily was clean. We had a new action, daily fake out. We had the weekly criteria. We had the high potential trade. So actually, this was a good trade. That was the only thing that was sitting against us that we just closing around that zone. And that's wrong to see it, you know. We have many more positive things than negative. So I could trade this bullish M without break of structure. And this was a trade here, 3% you could take here, but I will close normally around 2.5%. So yeah, and then here on a weekly, you could see this was a high potential trade. The trend is for you. We have clear impulse correction, impulse correction. We had a nice touch of this previous structure, resistance here, support, support. We had that new action from this weekly previous candle here, and we went to the upside. This was also clear resistance here. So it's a clear supply and demand. And the only thing that was against us was this candle close. So we had the fib, the trend, and the supply and demand zone for us. So 3 out of 4 high potential trade to take that long. So this was the trade. And then the last one, get GPY, is also a trade I could take. If I go over the daily, weekly, and then the 4 hour, this was the last one. This is still running. So this could be then the get GPY scaling trade. I didn't took here the get GPY trade. Was it? Yeah, I was showing it here. Get GPY, the first one I didn't take. And then on daily. You could take also here a scaling. This was a scaling trade you could take because we had still room till this potential um supply and demand. So because on the daily it's a retrace trade. You have a fib completion from this high to this low. You have your minus 60, 80 fib completion here, aligning with the daily supply and demand zone, which was here that first trade I was saying. So this was clearly a trade you could take. We had that impulse, and on the 4 hour, we had a second trade we could take. So the weekly was here clear. We had a 3 out of 4. I was explaining this. And then on the 4 hour, you could see this shoulder 1 had shoulder 2 played out if you were sitting in the straight. And then you had your clear first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg. Clear impulse, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse till that zone of interest where we can go for a short potentially. And if you were sitting in a trade, you could take that scale in, but I wasn't sitting in a trade, and this was already a 2.5% trade, so then I want to take the scale in, but now it was just a more risky trade because I wasn't in the first trade. That's why I didn't took it, with also that losing week taking in count. And you could also see what you could trade was this bullish M, first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, and within that you had here your shoulder 1 here, head, shoulder 2, which is very nice. And then that's a pattern in a pattern, and that's why we took some liquidity here to go immediately to the upside, which is also now nice zone here, acting as support, support, resistance, support. This is a nice IC, and then here again support to the upside. This was a trade you could take, so you could have this last week around 7.5% if you manage to take 2.5% all the way out every time. So this could be a good week to take some trades. So just some feedback from me for upcoming week. So I hope you liked it and see you next week. Bye.